Hi, I'm Joe Cece. I coordinate the Action to End Poverty in Alberta initiative. And I want to tell you a little bit about a gathering that we held in Calgary on June 14th and 15th. It involved 8 municipalities, representatives from those municipalities, who are involved in poverty reduction initiatives either through their municipality or as a coalition involving their municipality. On the first day, we heard from Chris Demeanor, Calgary's first poet laureate. He read a poem called Bootstraps and performed for us. And then on the second day, we got down to business. We heard from the 8 municipalities or representatives talking about what they were doing in their communities and where they thought they needed to go. And you'll hear from some of those people soon. We heard from Alexa Briggs, the co-author of Poverty Costs, around the next steps in that project. And then we heard from Laura Pilipow about the social policy framework engagement process. That kind of helped us all get together and talk about where we needed to go as a group and where we need to go as individuals around the issues affecting many, many, many Albertans who are low income. So now let's hear from some of the people who are at the gathering.
Could you tell us a little about some of the challenges you're facing in Red Deer around this poverty reduction question?
I think our community is facing the same challenges that most communities are facing. I mean, I think obviously defining it, the definition, and then obviously coming to some of the solutions as to what needs to be done. I know that there's been a lot done in regards to the affordable housing issues, and I think that it's probably just the next steps.
Oh, challenges, there are many. The buy-in, the awareness education piece is really big for us.
Okay.
The fact that as soon as government get involved on municipal level, let's say, we have to be very careful that it's not seen as our thing. Everybody's thing.
Okay.
This is an issue that affects us on all levels, so that is a challenge in itself. And of course, we have a very, very unique community. Now we are neighboring with the largest Aboriginal community. Our Black Reserve is next to us, and then we are also a destination of choice for Citizenship and Immigration Canada for sending newcomers to our community.
Well, we've had a morning now together with this group of people from all different parts of Alberta. What's your sense of what we've been discussing about?
I think it's a great discussion because Alberta and poverty reduction has been a focus for Intercity Forum on Social Policy, which I've been involved with for a long time, and our municipality has been. And I think this is a very important issue to talk about.
What are some of the challenges that you know of and that you've been hearing about today?
I think some of the challenges vary from having a common language or common definition to having a common go-forward target as far as what do we want to see, what's different, to measurement, to affordable housing that we know is a huge strategy that we need to have in place to be able to.
We've had our first gathering of the community in May. The plan is to have an interim report based on what came out of that discussion by the fall, and then we're along with some draft recommendations for various groups to implement. And we're going to come together again in the fall of 2012 to take a look at those recommendations and see how we can move from discussion into action.
The complexities around basic needs, as to defining what is it, and how do you kind of those wraparound services in regards to education and health and literacy and those types of things, as to what can we do and how can we do it, and how does that then impact other things that we do as a municipality versus the provincial government and the ministries that they have, and the federal government and the areas that they deal in. So
we are trying to focus on 5 main points, and the 5 points are housing. Housing is a real issue in our community. After Calgary and Edmonton, we have the highest number of low income in our community, and housing is #1 issue. And then we're trying to address wage and child care. That's the 3rd one. The 4th one is dental and healthcare. And the 5th one is the acknowledgement and awareness and education about poverty and what that means, and how does that impact all of us and not just some of us.
It's a big project, isn't it, trying to deal with this issue?
It is a big project, and I think it's quite complex, but I think if we look at it from and try and define where we want to go, each community, it will be place-based, but each community really needs to but I think there's a place for Alberta as a province to have a voice in terms of the same thing as we did with homelessness, to end homelessness. I was involved with all of that strategy, and I think the same thing can happen with this.
One of the things that we really notice in Canmore is, I mean, poverty exists in every community. Even if you're seen as an affluent mountain community, there's poverty there. What every community has to do is address and find out what the face of it looks like in their community. Whether it be the transient worker, the young family who can't afford to live there, or whatever it is. And so we're in the process of exploring what the face of poverty looks like in Canmore so that we can address it and be a more wholesome, compassionate community.
It's a social condition that we need to deal with, and have a pragmatic approach to how each community is going to deal with that, but also have a provincial strategy.